If you'd like to be featured on Newark TV, why not drop us a line on info@newark-tv.co.uk. Oh, and don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Today on Newark TV, we asked the question, could you unplug your child? That's the question. Well, it's all to do with a new play written by Robbie called Unplugged. It's a dark but funny satire about the death of teenagers where cutting the cord is a matter of economy.
My name's Steve Court and I play Andy.
How long have you been at this?
We were thinking about this the other day. I think it is now getting on for about 4 years since we first picked up the script. But we've had so many reasons to stop. We've lost cast members. I had heart failure, so I was in hospital for a long time. Then just as I got out and recovered and was ready to start again, then COVID came along and we stopped. So then we started again, but then COVID came along again and we had to stop. And then we lost another cast member. So we've been constantly in a state of either being stopped by the world or recasting. And finally we've got 4 people and we're ready to go.
So just fill us in, because how did this come about? Because to be truthful, I don't think we're going to get a chance to talk to the director because he's a little bit out there, isn't he?
A little bit out there. That's a good description. And that's exactly where it came from. So the director, Robbie, is actually also the scriptwriter, and that's where it came from. So Robbie has been coming to writers' groups that I've been involved in for years, and probably four and a bit years ago, he turned around and said, "I've written a thing," and he wasn't really sure what he'd written, and it was hilariously funny. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So we sort of convinced him that there was more in it than that one bit that he'd written, and he went away and wrote some more. And before he realised what he was doing, he'd written a play. And the play is absolutely fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And I think what's even better about the play is that it is 4 and a bit years old. So at the time was just a funny satire. But now it's about as topically relevant as it possibly could be. It's all about this kind of cost of living crisis and people trying to find a way of saving money. So it's sort of grown into its own. The longer we've waited, the more relevant the play's become.
I need to ask you a question. Does he have children?
He does.
He does?
He does. He has a daughter who is in her 20s now, so she survived the teenage years. And
okay, well, I need to ask you another question, and that is, has he unplugged her? Has he ever thought about unplugging her? Because where does this all come from?
I mean, the reality is, what parent probably hasn't thought about unplugging at some point?
No, wait, let me ask you the question. Have you?
No.
Oh my gosh. Because, you know, I've been out there with you and I've been listening to the play and everything else, and there's just some absolute storming lines. And you're right, everything is topical. It really is. I mean, when you look at the cost of a child.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, yeah, and it's not even just the cost of children anymore. Like I say, the way the play's grown into itself, there's some great references to kind of the energy companies and things like that, and the impact that they're having on people. And when you take it back, that this was 4.5 years ago, before even this, you know, overused phrase of cost of living crisis even existed, this play was written, and it's like, and all the way through it, there's just social references that are just absolutely on the money, and he writes it in a way which is just perfect, because it's saying what we all think, and it's saying something that's really meaningful, clouded in just a one-liner joke, or slipped into a conversation in a way where it just makes it funny. And it's one of the things where I think an audience will be able to come along and go, yeah, that's all actually happening, that's real life right now, but walk away laughing at it. And sometimes when it's as bleak as things can be at the minute, that's what you need every now and then, isn't it? Just the chance to go and laugh at something.
But this play is dark, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a black comedy. It is dark satire, but again, satire at its best. So which, you know, that's what you want, isn't it? Something that's got a meaning, something meaningful, but has a bit of a punch and a bit of a kick to it.
Best line that you deliver in your mind.
The play is just absolutely full of them, but there's one great line about when I say to Dave in a scene, they just thought I was tall for my age, And then he says, why? And I say, because I'm taller than a child. And it's the one line that I struggle to not smile at every time I have to deliver it. But the whole play's got loads of jokes in it. And again, it's that point where I think we're becoming slightly more desensitized now. The more we're running it and the more we're doing it, like the easier it is to not laugh. But there's just some moments, and it's mostly in other people's scenes where I'm in the background trying not to snigger over the top of them.
So. Give it. Yeah. I mean, because if it's taken you 4 years to come, I mean, so what was your part in this? I mean, did you help him write it? Decide that you're going to put it together as a play, or what?
The latter, definitely. So I've not written it. This is Robbie's writing. I've maybe criticised some bits when I wasn't sure what was going on, but he's brilliant, knows exactly what he's doing. And to be fair, the way Robbie writes is also fantastic, because as the script is right now, final script, there is probably 2% edit from his first draft straight out of his head onto the page. The way he writes is phenomenal. He comes to some of the poetry groups with us and writes poetry he can produce something in 10 minutes that would take the rest of us days of tinkering and tweaking and stuff like that. He's very, very sharp. But yeah, the play was written by him, so all I've really done is help to facilitate the getting actors together and finding a space to be and things like that. So he's done the rest. And then initially I was going to do a bit more on the directing front because Robbie hadn't directed anything before, but actually he's just taken to it sometimes too well. Sometimes he likes to talk to us a little bit too much, but he's taken to it really, really well. And he knows what he wants. And what he wants generally, you wouldn't argue with. You just say, yeah, it makes sense. It's right.
I mean, because you are a seasoned pro.
Why, thank you.
You know, you've been. I've treaded the boards many years, darling.
Yes, why, thank you, darling. Yes.
From a director's point of view, because I mean, you've directed no end yet. Is he doing well?
Yeah, really well. Really well. I say you would not think it was the first play he'd been involved in. You wouldn't think it was the first script he'd ever written. He knows what he wants. And I think it does help him that he's directing his first play, which is a script he has written, because he knows exactly what he was writing and he knows exactly what he wants to get from it. Doesn't he? Yeah.
You know, it's interesting you saying that about with it being his first play, because one of the other cast members thought he was a seasoned pro. Thought he'd been out there and oh no, this is not his first play. Really? Says I.
I wonder what we told them to get them in then.
But I'm sitting back and I'm looking and I'm listening, and yeah, he's got some good calls. And I think that's a really good thing for us, that have been out there and done pro work and come into amateur, and we just settle in and everything else. But to be able to give him that license, because like you said, he knows what he wants. Who are we to question that?
Yeah, absolutely.
He just he's on it.
But from the very first start of meeting Robbie, he came along and was almost a little bit dismissive of, like he was coming to writers' sessions, but not necessarily wanting to write anything. Like he was just almost being made to be there. And then that's just slowly evolved over the time of going like, oh, I've got half a notebook, and when that notebook's filled, you won't see me again. To then writing what must be now 12, 13, 1400 poems. He's written a few. Wow. He's now sitting in the intervening years. He's now written a few other short scripts as well. We've actually got another play ready to go as soon as this one finishes touring. Yeah. So he's just keeps on growing and keeps on getting better. He's just it's phenomenal writing. So to then see him bringing something to life as well is kind of a next step for him, because he's now gone through that writing bit. He's produced a couple of books which are really, really good. Stories as well as poetry. So now to see him actually getting a play on his feet, it's just nice to see where he's able to take that kind of creative
So
stuff.
you've got your first play coming up, your first show. Where is it going to be at?
It's at the Gainsborough Old Nick Theatre, which is just outside Marshall's Yard in Gainsborough. So there's plenty of parking, so there's no reason to not come.
Date?
It's the 13th to the 16th of September.
Okay. Ticket price?
It's £10. Flat ticket price, £10 in, so nice and cheap, nice night out. And it's a really nice little theatre, so it's only sort of a 50-60 seat black box theatre. So it's really nice and intimate, and the audience is quite close to the stage. So it's a really nice space.
Has it got a bar?
It has got a bar, and there will be an interval, so you can definitely take advantage of that bar. And not only that, the venue, unlike a lot of venues when you go to stuff and you get your interval drink and then the show finishes and they shepherd you out the door, they're very keen to keep the bar open after the performance as well, so that people can stick around and talk to the cast and have another drink and make a night of it. So really nice little venue.
You mentioned that he's got another play in the offing. What can we expect there?
The same kind of comedy value as this one. with a little twist, but I will have to keep that little twist secret for now.
No worries. All right. Okay. Something that somebody should take away from this would be what in your mind?
Just that feel-good feeling of going and watching a good comedy. I think, and the fact that as dark as all of the topics that we cover are, sometimes it is okay to just laugh, to just find the humour in the horrible.
But we are, Steve. We are genuinely talking about killing your kids.
Well, maybe not that bit.
Well, that's it. 4 parts. You've met the full cast. Now it's time to meet the director. Right, all we've got to do is just find the director. Just have a little word with him. Where are we? Ah, there he is. Ah, Mr. Director, can I have a quick bugger? What are you doing?